February 26, 1991, 16:18 hours. A massive sandstorm swallowed the Iraqi desert, reducing visibility to zero. The U.S. 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment advanced blindly, hunting the Tawakalna Division of the Republican Guard. What followed was a ruthless demonstration of technological superiority. In 23 minutes, a vastly outnumbered American armored troop collided with a fortified enemy line, turning the desert into a graveyard of burning steel. The strategic objective was to locate and fix the Republican Guard forces. Eagle Troop, a forward reconnaissance unit with 9 M1A1 Abrams tanks and 12 Bradleys, spearheaded the advance. The terrain was flat and disorienting. As the tracks of the 60-ton Abrams tanks churned the desert floor, the crews inside operated in a state of hyper-focused isolation, relying entirely on their instrumentation to understand the battlefield geometry. The M1A1 Abrams was an engineering marvel built for this exact scenario. Its primary advantage was the AN/VSG-2 tank thermal sight. While Iraqi forces peered through conventional optical sights rendered useless by the dense blowing sand, the American gunners viewed the world in glowing green heat signatures. This asymmetrical vision advantage meant the Abrams could target the enemy long before they were detected in the dust. Waiting in the dust was the pride of the Iraqi military, the T-72 main battle tank. The Tawakalna Division established a deliberate reverse-slope defense, digging their tanks into defilade positions. Only the turrets and 125mm smoothbore guns were exposed above the sand berms, designed to ambush the Americans at close range. If they got the first shot, the threat to the American armor was mathematically severe. At 16:10, Eagle Troop crested a slight ridge. The tactical commander, scanning through his thermal sight, saw the glowing silhouettes of Iraqi armored vehicles. The radio cracked with cold reports. Contact front, multiple heat signatures. The gunners stabilized their turrets. The 120mm smoothbore cannons, utilizing a fire control system that calculated wind speed and target distance, locked onto the exact coordinates. The order was given: fire. The first 120mm depleted uranium penetrator left the barrel of an M1A1 Abrams at over 1,500 meters per second. The kinetic energy was catastrophic. The round bypassed the sand berm, striking the frontal glacis of an Iraqi vehicle, instantly neutralizing the target. The silence of the storm was shattered by the deafening roar of the main gun, followed by the secondary detonation of the enemy's ammo rack. Eagle Troop did not halt. Standard doctrine dictated breaking contact to call artillery, but the commander made a calculated decision to maintain momentum. They pushed directly into the Iraqi defensive line, crossing the map coordinate known as 73 Easting. The Abrams tanks accelerated, their gas turbine engines whining over the wind. They operated inside the enemy's kill zone, yet the Iraqi gunners were firing blindly into the dust. As the American tanks broke through the first defensive belt, the true scale of the Tawakalna Division's deployment became clear on the thermal screens. Dozens of dug-in T-72s materialized in the glowing green displays. They were perfectly concealed from the naked eye, but brightly illuminated by their engine heat. The tactical disadvantage was stark: 9 Abrams tanks driving directly into a battalion-sized armored formation. The engagement devolved into a high-speed, close-quarters armored brawl. The Abrams turret stabilization system allowed the tanks to fire accurately while moving at 25 miles per hour over rough terrain. The gunners continuously tracked targets, laser rangefinders bouncing off Iraqi hulls. Target identified: T-72, 800 meters. The loader shoved another 60-pound shell into the breach in seconds. The depleted uranium sabot rounds punched through the T-72 armor as if it were paper. The Iraqi tanks, featuring an autoloader carousel packed with volatile ammunition directly beneath the turret, suffered catastrophic damage upon penetration. Each successful hit resulted in a massive internal pressure spike, blowing the heavy turrets completely off the chassis. The battlefield quickly filled with the blazing wreckage of neutralized armor. The Iraqi Republican Guard fought back with fierce determination.
Tracer fire from heavy machine guns and 125mm main gun rounds snapped past the advancing American tanks. Sparks flew as shrapnel ricocheted off the chobam composite armor of the Abrams. The Iraqi gunners, blinded by the storm, fired at the muzzle flashes of the American tanks. Several Abrams reported near misses, the kinetic shockwaves rattling the crews inside.
Supporting the heavy tanks, the M3A2 Bradley fighting vehicles unleashed their Tau anti-tank missiles and 25mm chain guns. The Tau missiles, guided by thin copper wires, tracked flawlessly through the sandstorm, impacting Iraqi infantry fighting vehicles. The 25mm high-explosive incendiary rounds suppressed enemy infantry. This combined arms synergy created an impenetrable wall of offensive firepower.
Tension spiked when an Iraqi T-72 managed to acquire an Abrams through a brief break in the dust. The T-72 fired its main gun at a dangerously close range of under 500 meters. The 125mm round struck the frontal turret armor of the Abrams. The impact was a massive kinetic strike that shook the 60-ton machine. But the advanced depleted uranium mesh embedded within the Abrams armor held firm. The penetrator shattered.
The Abrams' return fire was instantaneous and devastating. The 120mm Sabre round struck the attacking T-72 dead center. The subsequent detonation put the Iraqi tank permanently out of action. This exchange demonstrated the harsh reality of late 20th century armored warfare. Armor composition and sensor technology dictated survival. The Iraqi forces were fighting a machine that could absorb their heaviest blows and strike back.
Sensing the collapse of their center, a company of Iraqi T-72s attempted a desperate flanking maneuver. They moved out of their dug-in positions, trying to maneuver around the American right flank to strike the thinner side armor. But the thermal sights caught the movement immediately. The glowing heat signatures of the revving diesel engines painted a clear target. 3 Abrams tanks pivoted in unison to face them. The flanking T-72s were caught in the open. Without the protection of their sand berms, they were highly vulnerable. The American gunners, operating with robotic efficiency, engaged the moving targets. The fire control computers calculated the lead required to hit the accelerating Iraqi tanks. Shots rang out in rapid succession. One by one, the flanking vehicles were systematically neutralized by precise kinetic strikes.
After 23 minutes of relentless combat, the firing began to slow. Eagle Troop reached their designated limit of advance. The tactical map showed a complete collapse of the Tawakalna Division's defensive sector at 73 Easting. The sandstorm continued to howl, but the immediate area was now illuminated by the fires of dozens of destroyed enemy vehicles. The American crews kept their thermal sights active, scanning the wreckage.
The statistical outcome of the engagement was staggering. In less than half an hour, Eagle Troop had destroyed nearly 50 Iraqi T-72 tanks, over 20 armored personnel carriers, and numerous trucks. The Iraqi defensive line was utterly shattered. As the commanders reported their status, a remarkable fact emerged. Despite driving into a fortified ambush, not a single M1A1 Abrams had been lost to enemy fire. The Battle of 73 Easting became a textbook case study in military academies. It proved that superior sensors, stabilization systems, and composite armor could overcome significant numerical disadvantages. The Iraqi Republican Guard had deployed sound tactical doctrine, creating kill zones, but their doctrine was rendered obsolete by the thermal sight and the 120mm smoothbore gun. You cannot destroy what you cannot see. The sands of the Iraqi desert eventually settled, covering the wreckage left behind. The M1A1 Abrams cemented its legacy as the dominant apex predator of the battlefield. The 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment executed a flawless tactical assault under extreme conditions. Their victory remains a testament to advanced engineering. If you like military stories, subscribe to the channel and always be notified about the newest story on the channel. Until the next video.